Okay. Can you see the
Presentation? Yes.
Oh, great. Wonderful. We're all set.
Mm.
We just need one in Zoom, and then we'll start in about 10 minutes.
Yes. Okay. I will be here. I will mute myself.
Okay, sounds good.
So you will be moving the slides, right?
Right, right.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. I'll mute myself and get back 2 minutes before 1.
Okay, if you could just ping Lana again too.
Yes,
'cause
I will.
don't-
I will. Yeah, I'll call her now. I'll call her. Yeah.
Hi, Lana. It's Karen. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, Lana. It's
Hi,
Karen.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
Good, I can hear you perfectly.
Excellent, excellent.
Great. Let's see, we have Kirsten and Aruj in the room, and we'll start in about 5 minutes.
Okay, fantastic.
Great. I'll go ahead and mute your mic before we start.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Education USA webinar that is being hosted by our Education USA advisors in the United Arab Emirates, Lana Irish and Roran Atia. My name is Karen Bauer. I'm the Regional Educational Advising Coordinator for parts of the Middle East, Central Asia, and South Asia. We are so happy really to be having this webinar specifically for the GEMS High School counselors at this time to just give you some more information about the Education USA Network, what we do, as well as how you can learn about what's happening in the United Arab Emirates, particularly Emirati students, and how you can continue to engage with us with all in person, hopefully in the months to come. We will let you know that this webinar is being recorded, and we will be sharing the link to the live recording or the recorded live version of the webinar with all of you. So if in fact you need to go back and review the webinar, or if some of your colleagues were not able to make it today, don't worry, we will be sure to share that with them. So I am going to go ahead and just tell you a little bit about our agenda and what we're going to be covering this afternoon. Our advisors, Lana and Rowan, are going to talk about what is Education USA, who we are as a network, and specifically on our virtual advising that obviously has become a bit more popular in the past 2 weeks. We'll speak about the UAE students particularly and studying in the United States, a bit about trends and majors as well as scholarship programs. We'll do an overview of the U.S. higher educational system. We'll break down the 5 steps to U.S. study, which is really our approach to helping students demystify the process and break it down in 5 steps, and we'll go over those in detail. Then we'll talk about the Education USA Academy, a summer program specifically for high school students. And we'll end with an update on the current situation and how you can engage with US universities in the United States, our network, as well as some great resources at this challenging time. And we'll end with questions and answers. I will just let you know that we do have a webinar that is happening on this same platform in exactly 1 hour. So we'll need to get off about 5 to 10 minutes before 2 o'clock. So please know we'll try to stick to time. So thank you once again for coming, and I will now turn it over to Lana to start with what is Education USA?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Karen, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy and so glad to connect with all of you virtually. Like Karen said, I'll start by telling you more about who we are as Education USA. Education USA is a global network, and it's a U.S. Department of State network, and we have over 430 international student advising centers in 178 countries around the world. The network mainly promotes U.S. higher education by providing students, high school counselors, and parents, because they're always involved in this decision, with accurate, comprehensive, and current information about opportunities to study in the United States. And we do that for the both undergraduate and graduate level as well. Now, I'll move to the next slide where we talk about the 5 steps to US study. And I know that my dear colleague Rowan is going to talk in details about this approach of how to study in the US. And you know, I've had the opportunity to work with so many of you, and we came to the different education fairs and sessions at your schools, but we would like to go over this more in details. But in a nutshell, I'll just introduce you to this, and then I'll tell you how we can support you every step of the way. So by that, I mean supporting you, your students, and their families as well. So the first step would be to researching options. As many of you know, the US has over 4,000 accredited US colleges and universities. So our goal is to actually help the students shortlist their options according to their needs. And the needs include the academic needs, where the program is available and the program is accredited, and then as well as what really is the best fit for them when it comes to the environment that they're going to be in. Students are different, we are all different, so we try to help the students. Actually, we work hard to help the students find and shortlist their options according to those needs. The second step would be to look at how they're going to finance their education. Is this going to be in the case of Emirati students, usually it's funded by one of the 14 scholarship granting institutions that we have. The ministry is a popular one, as you all know, but I'll talk more in details about that in the coming slide. After succeeding in steps 1 and 2, then we move to number 3. And to me, as I always tell my students and my high school counselors, this would be one of the easiest steps, because usually the students have planned their education, their application process according to the deadlines and the requirements. They've already started on making sure that they have the language requirements, SAT if it's required at the university, and all of that. The second thing would be to, or the following step would be to actually apply for a student visa. We always recommend that the students apply for 6 to 10 universities and then choose one, of course, to go study. After they get their I-20 or admission, then they can go ahead and apply for a student visa at the US Consulate General in Dubai or the US Embassy in Abu Dhabi. The favorite part of, or one of the most favorite part of our work is the pre-departure orientation. And the pre-departure orientation is usually the step before they depart to the US, so we can give them more information about what to do before, during, and after the travel. And that is open to family, to them and their families as well. But like I said, Rowan will elaborate more on this. This is just an introduction to tell you more about the approach and how we can support you. Now, the way we support you, we divided that into 4 different categories. When it comes to students, we work with students one-on-one by providing them advising, and that advising could be in person, could be through the phone, WhatsApp, email, any way that would be convenient for them. We come to schools and we provide group workshops and sessions about different information that would be relevant to their studies. We participate in the education fairs that take place at the schools, as well as the education fairs that take place across the UAE, and there are over like 36 of them in a calendar year. When it comes to working with you, and that's another thing that we fully take pride in, is our relationship with you as high school counselors, because we do fully realize how important your role is when it comes to guiding students and their families as well. So we're very happy and very proud to have the high school counselors monthly workshops, where we provide you information about one of the topics related to US admission. GEMS has been great about hosting many of our monthly meetups in Dubai. And we, this has been a great opportunity for us to get to know you in person. We also, as you all know, have the updates that we send you via email, and the WhatsApp group that we have, where we share trends information, and we seek advice from each other to make sure that we're all aware of what is happening here in the UAE and in the US as well. The third one I would like to talk about is our relationship with the UAE government, and that includes the visits that we do to the schools and the sessions and the fairs that we we participate in, and the sessions that we provide to the students in grades 9 to 12. And of course, the regular communication that we have with the ministry to make sure that we are up to date where things are, and then how we can support the ministry as well, working with their high school counselors and their students as well. The other piece, and this is where we think of ourselves as the glue between the high school students, their families, the high school counselors, and the US HEIs. The US Higher Education Institutes, we have regular meetings with them. They come to our advising centers in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. We meet with them. We always update them on what is happening when it comes to the education trends and what's happening in the UAE, all the fairs that are happening in the UAE, and we share that with you as well, to let you know who's coming to what fair and when is that happening, and all of that. And then we have the connection between the high school counselors and the UAE government officials, as well as the scholarship granting institutions. Right now, like Karen said, this is a challenging time for all of us. And I just want to say that from what I have witnessed on the WhatsApp group, from the communication that I have on daily basis with the high school counselors, I believe that this is a time where everyone so far has proved to be so supportive of each other. I have to say that I'm very proud of all the work and the support and the assistance and the guidance that is happening on daily basis among all of us, to make sure that we continue to do what we do, but in a different format. We are in this together, and this is something that's happening all over in the US, in the UAE, everywhere in this world. As Education USA Network, we are very proud to continue to provide the services and to provide the support as well to all of you in every way, shape, or form that we can. Today's webinar is actually a great example of how we can support you, the great work that we can do together in order to make sure that students are successful in their college applications, and they know more about the US as a higher education destination. We're happy to continue answering your emails. Yes, we are working from home, but we have access to our emails all the time. We're responding to your WhatsApp inquiries. We're happy to take calls at any time, and we'll talk more about the app, but we're happy to chat on that as well. So please know that we're there to support you in any way, shape, or form, any time of the day that you feel like you need our support or guidance, and we will come to you as well. So this is a great time for us to all, support each other. I'll talk about the trends happening in the UAE education system. We just would like to share with you the numbers we have with when it comes to the number of Emirati students currently studying in the US. This is according to Open Doors, and it's called the Student Mobility Facts and Figures. The current numbers of UAE students in the US is about 2,360 actually in 2019. As you all know, the UAE has a population of 9.7 million, 1 million of which are UAE nationals. And then you have the other students who come from all over the world. So those numbers, I just want to highlight that those numbers only reflect the number of UAE nationals currently studying in the US. There are many students that you and I have worked with who are third country nationals, but still call the UAE home, who are currently studying in the US, but we don't see those numbers here. The top 5 preferred study destinations for Emiratis are California, New York, Texas, Florida, and Massachusetts. And most of the students, if we look at the following slide, you will see that most of the students currently studying in the US, about 78% of them are doing their undergraduate studies, 10.7% are doing their graduate, and then we have 8.6% of them doing non-degree. So this shows you, and I'm sure that this tells you a lot about the work that you're doing, because most of the students who are currently looking into studying abroad are high school students, your students. The last number I want to refer to is called the OPT. As many of you know, OPT stands for the Optional Practical Training. So in the US system, we have the OPT, Optional Practical Training, and then we have the CPT, which is the Curricular Practical Training. To make it simple for you, any student studying in the US a STEM major, science, technology, engineering, or math, will get the opportunity to do a CPT for 27 months. That could be during their study years or upon graduation. For all the other major, students will be doing OPT, optional practical training, and that would be up to 12 months upon their graduation. If you have more questions on this, we can answer that either via email or at the end of this session. When it comes again to UAE nationals, and I'll focus more on UAE nationals now, without, of course, forgetting the third country national students that go to the US, but the UAE government has about 13 scholarship granting institutions. Some of those scholarship granting institutions actually specify who is eligible according to the where the passport is being issued. Sometimes the gender, like ADIA, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, they only send students who are has Abu Dhabi passport, who are male students. So different criteria, different scholarship eligibility criteria that each one of those scholarship granting institutions grant students. One of the most popular ones, I would say, is the Ministry of Higher Education, because the Ministry of Higher Education opens the opportunity to students all over the country, and this is for undergrad, graduate, and it's for both genders as well. So, but in order for us to give you more details, we need to know which scholarship granting institution you're interested in, and we are happy to connect you with our contacts. This is something that we usually do. We share with our with all the US HEIs the contact details, as you can see on this slide, for the scholarship granting institution, to ensure that those educational institutions can be on the list, because one of the requirements for a student to be granted the scholarship is for a particular institute to be on the list of approved universities by that particular institution. To make it simple for you, for example, the Ministry of Education approves a certain number of US educational institutions. They approve the top 200 institutions in the world, about 48 of which come from the US. So they have to go by QS ranking, and there is a process for that. And again, we're happy to provide you with more information on that. The other institutions, for example, could approve up to 150. Some of them approve like 10 universities. So we need to know who's approved on which scholarship granting institution in order to better guide our students to where they can study and what major is being approved. This gives you a quick idea of the number of students studying in the US by year. If you look at the highest number that we had was in 2016, we had 2,900 and 2 students. And then afterwards, we're starting to see a drop from 2017 onwards. Actually, the drop is not that much when it comes to the total number of students, but there has been a drop, and there is a reason for that. One of the reasons, and I'll talk more about this, but one of the reasons for the drop is actually the military service, mandatory military service for male students. But for the most part, all the scholarship granting institutions and the work that we do is in line with the job market needs of the UAE. So we look at the ministry and the other scholarship granting institutions approved specific majors at specific universities. And that was based on the job market needs in the UAE. The main topics are innovation and entrepreneurship, alternative and renewable energy, space, different majors of engineering, health sciences, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity and business information technology. When it comes to the latest trends in the UAE education system, we have, as you know, MSAT is a requirement for grade 12. MSAT was scheduled for April, and as we all know that it has been postponed until a further notice or canceled. But the other thing I want to talk about is, like I said, and as most of you know, is the mandatory national military service for the UAE nationals. It's a requirement for the male students, and it's optional for female students. It started with requiring 9 months of military service, then it went up to 12, and now we're at 16 months. And I'm sure you've all seen the latest update that we got, that even students with 90% or more need to do 4 months of mandatory military service before they can go and pursue their education, which means that they're gonna defer their enrollment until they actually finish the 4 months, and their MSAT score is going to determine if they would be eligible to be released after the 4 months. We have seen over the years how all the scholarship granting institutions have been raising the criteria for scholarship programs. So they're looking at higher grades in grade 12. They're looking at students securing their admission into US colleges and universities. Before coming to the UAE, I used to work for the UAE Embassy in Washington, D.C. And we used, as advisors, we used to help students secure their admission. Now it's no longer the case. Students need to secure their admission themselves in order for the scholarship to be finalized. So that is actually a good thing, but it's one of the changes that we need to refer to. The ministry has also, because of the Vision 2021, has been putting so much effort to well prepare the students for colleges, and they start working with students from grades 9 to 12, and this is something that actually we're very happy to see as well. When it comes to also the options that students have in the UAE, as you all know, there are increased number of higher education institutions here. We have the local campuses, the federal higher education institutions, but we also have the ones from overseas, where like NYU, Abu Dhabi, and the Sorbonne, and other universities. For us, we need to secure or get security clearance before our visits to schools. So this is a new update that you are all aware of, and we're doing that during for the visits as well as the our participation at education fairs. Like I said earlier, when it comes to the factors that influence decisions for UAE nationals, I would like to highlight again how every scholarship granting institution has its own approved list of universities. There is a way for universities to get on the list, and that's something that we usually share with them and connect them with the ministry. But there is an approved list, and students need to go according to the approved list of that particular scholarship. Needless to say, all the institutions are accredited institutions, and they have professionally accredited programs as well. Some of your students and our students as well have concerns over safety issues on and off campus, and we always direct them to the right person to contact and provide them with any information that they need. Of course, the visa requirements when it comes to some countries, and especially in the situation like third country nationals. With UAE students, there were some changes in the fee that we shared with students as well. So we always work to keep you and your students and their families up to date with what is happening to ensure their successful admission into US colleges and universities. Lots and lots and lots of opportunities out there when it comes to students and when it comes to HEIs. We are proud to say that we have over 30 plus educational fairs that take place in the UAE, and Rowan and I make sure that we are present at most of them. Again, one of the things that we take pride in is the strong high school counselors that we have, and the relationship that we have with all of you, and how we can again support each other. So I will leave it now to Rowan to talk about the US higher education system, and I'll be happy to take any questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Lana. Thank you, Karen. And hi to all. So happy to be with you today. And thank you for making the time to attend our webinar. And we hope to meet with you face-to-face in the soon future. So today I will be covering 3 topics. I'm going to talk about the US higher education, steps for successful admission, and Education USA Academy. And then we will open it to questions. So as many of you know, that the United States is home to many of the world's top universities, with 50 American institutions featured in the QS World University Rankings Top 200. The US education system is considered as one of the best in the world, with more than 1 million international students choosing to broaden their education in the United States. It's also characterized by diversity of institutions. Students decide what kind of learning they need that fits their needs. So we have over 4,000, as you can see on the screen, 4,000 accredited institutions, can be between large and small, public or private, urban or rural, all depending upon the students' preferences and needs. If you may go to the other screen, Karen, we're going to talk about types of higher education. So we have 3, as many of you know: the community college that offers the pathway program 2+2. So students study 2 years associate degree, and then most, if not all, the community colleges have an articulation agreement with universities where students finish their 3rd and 4th year and graduate with a bachelor degree from that university. The second type is the public university, which is known with their large research institutions. And usually they have a lower cost for residents. So students who reside in the US can be in-state students and can pay less than half the tuition than the other students. Private universities, they're usually funded by the tuition and the grant, and most of them are focused, smaller than the public universities, and focused on particular discipline or areas. Those are the three types of higher education institutions. And if we talk about why study in the US, and I'm going to talk about 5 main reasons why students decide or like to study in the US. So we're going to talk about quality, choice, diversity, value, and flexibility. As many of you know, that the United States has an outstanding programs at all educational levels and offers world-class facilities, including libraries, laboratories, research facilities, and is a leader in advanced technology. Over 4,000 accredited institutions offer various educational athletic activities, which not only enhance the educational experience for them, but also help them network and help them become global citizens. And this is one of the top things that make studying in the US is very unique. They always prepare students to become global citizens. As we mentioned regarding the value, as Lena mentioned, if we talk about finance, the US universities offer a range of tuition fees that varies between $16,000 a year up to $80,000 a year. We're talking about tuition. And of course, there's living cost options, financial aids, and the OPT that Lana mentioned. It makes it a great deal for students to participate in the optional training after they finish their studies at the university. US colleges also, they are very well known with their flexibility, and they provide course choices with flexibility to choose from multiple specialization, and if needed to change majors, it's there. They are very, very flexible in that. Some universities even offer students the option to customize their academic program. So some engineering students who prefer to study engineering, they can merge their love to art into their programs. And we can talk about it if you have any questions later on. So we spoke about quality, we spoke about the value, flexibility, and choice and diversity. And now we're going to move to steps for successful admission. So Lena talked briefly about the 5 steps that we help students in when applying to US universities. I'm going to talk a bit more into details. So, so applying for US study is a process that takes time, takes focus and effort. Therefore, we always encourage students to start early and plan ahead and understand that the application requirements, as they require a great deal of preparation and planning. So it's very important for students always to know that success comes from knowledge, what to do, how to do it, and the timeline. Because we meet with many students on a daily basis where they come late to us, asking us to help them in filling their application when it's too late, when it's past January. And we're going to talk a bit about the deadlines for the US deadline applications. So it's typical that the US undergraduate application to be due between November and January for students who wish to begin the course in the following September. So we start with the early action in November 1st. And for students who wants to do the regular admission, they can apply usually the deadline is January 15. In general, I'm saying, but usually some universities go up to January 30, but the norm is January 15. So we always encourage students to start filling the application in December after they have done all the research in summer. So as I mentioned, getting into college is a 4-year process, and this is something that we always stress on when we visit schools. And Lana and myself will initiated a program to start visiting schools and speak with students from grade 9, because students' path to college begin in their first year in high school, the freshmen. So they need to know that they need to stay in task from freshman year through the senior year. So we will help them in how to research their option. And the first, as you can see on the screen, the first step to studying in the US is to research their options. We always encourage them to start 12 to 18 months prior to the US studies. So the summer between grade 10 and grade 11 is very important, and same as grade 11 and grade 12. We always focus on community service, volunteer work, read and read and read, because the more they read, the more they research, the more they widen their option, the more option they will find that meet their needs. So questions, very important questions to ask, like, why do I want to study? Is it because I want to go there, or is it because my best friend goes there? What major do I want to study? Is it something that I really like, or I want to study it because my father studied that major? And I believe many of you face these students on a daily basis. So it's our role as counselors and advisors to guide them to find the universities that fits their needs. And many times we meet with the parents and speak with them about these issues. So how can they start the research? In order for them to widen their option, they need to talk to people, see who around them work in a field that they are interested in, do internship, do community service. We have some resources that we can share with you in the email about community services in the UAE that they can benefit from. I know that there's not many options, but there are some that we can share with you. So very important website that they go to, of course, is the College Board, Big Future College Board, and it gives them actually a PDF about universities and every single detail and information about universities, the cost, the diversity, cost for international and non-international, the room, the dorm, the booking, everything, all the information needed, they will find it there. So this is how they can start the research, and if you need any question, you can always come to Lana and myself. Accreditation, Lana talked about it, and it's very important. Accreditation is a key way that students and families and government officials know that this institution provides a quality education. So to ensure quality of education, to allow them to access to funds, and to ensure easy transfer if they needed to transfer to other university, students need to make sure that the university is accredited locally and accredited internationally. So in order for them to check, they can always visit SHIA.org. SHIA is the coordinating body for national institutional accrediting in the United States, and they always you always can check the website mentioned below for U.S. Department of Education. Also for local accreditation, you can always visit this website. It takes you directly to all the accredited universities and programs approved by the Ministry of Education in the UAE. And this is a very helpful website. And we will, as Karen mentioned, we will share the presentation for you so you can always have it. After students do their list and after they do their long research, they will need to apply to 6 to 8 or 10 universities. We always encourage them to apply to these 3 categories: the safety, where they feel that they match the upper end of successful applicants; realistic, where they match the medium of successful applicants; and the dream, where they match the lower end of successful applicants. It's very important also to mention to students that when they apply to university, it's very important for them to know that they really want to go to that university. Okay, because when they apply, they will also need to pay for the application, and they will need to pay for the SAT scores if it's required by the university. So in order to send the application, we're talking about $45 up to $80 in some universities added to the SAT fees, which is $12 per time. So they need to make sure that these, if they accepted in any of the universities in the list, they will be happy to join that university. And this is something very important. Financing their studies. Okay, finance is very important, I'm sure, for many parents and for many students. So we're going to talk about international students and UAE citizens. For international students, we always ask them to go first to the website for the university they're applying to, because the cost of the living and studying varies across the United States. And students are always encouraged to start early their financial planning, because each year international students receive significant amounts of financial aid, but it's very competitive. So they need to make sure that they need to start early looking for universities that offer scholarship. And I'm sure that you always receive emails from universities that tells you about the scholarship that they are offering. And whenever we receive an email, we always forward it to you to help students who are in need for this financial aid. So application usually for financial aid goes together with the application. And as I mentioned, that the first resource for international students for the financial aid is the university website. For UAE national is different. UAE students are eligible for 13 different full scholarship to study in the United States. Some of them, as Lana mentioned, are specific to particular emirate. And their benefits differ from institution to another. UAE students on scholarship, of course, must attend universities that are approved by the Ministry of Education, and must have high GPA and must have a good score in SAT if it's required by university, and it differs between university to another. And of course, the MSAT is a must in math and English in order for them to gain a scholarship from the government. So these are for the financial aid for students, international students, and for the UAE citizens. And we're going to move now to completing the application, Karen. Completing the application, as Lana said, this is a very easy part. Some students sometimes call to ask questions about a specific question in the application, but in general, all questions are very clear. Students need to check the specific requirement on the website of each institution to see what are the requirements for the application. Many students use common application, and it's very easy actually, and it saves time. But as we mentioned in the previous steps, they need to start early because it does take time. So they will need to, as we all know, they will need to fill out the general information and then move on to each institution and answer the questions required by each institutions on their list. So it does take time. They need to make sure, of course, that it's complete and proofread. Somebody needs to proofread for them. You know, kids at this age, they do need proofread for their answers and for their personal essay specifically. And of course, everything needs to be clear in order for the application to be sent. So the completing application is very easy and simple, and I'm sure that students come to you with questions about filling the application, because sometimes some questions are a bit tricky. Usually we ask them to start applying early. We always advise them to do 1 or 2 early decision applications in order for them to make sure in December that they are all set for the university.
Rowan,
yes.
Rowan, we have about 10 more minutes left before we have to get off.
Okay. Okay, so I'm almost done.
I'm going to go ahead and jump to step number 4 and 5, and then we can always to do a special presentation just on the application, because that's often the most complicated. So I'll go ahead and move to 4, and then we'll take it from there.
Perfect. So the visa. So perfect visa. So after the university accept a student, so the students need to get accepted. After they get accepted, they will receive the form I-20 from the university. They will need to do 3 things: pay the service fee, and then fill out the application, visa application, which is the S-160, and then book an online interview, online an interview to go to the embassy or the consulate to do the interview. Usually the interview is short, so we always advise students to be ready with all the documents that they have and to know how to answer why they're going to the United States and why did they pick this university. This is very important for them to be well prepared for the interview. The fees have changed lately, updated. We can share with you the updates of the fees, so I'm not going to mention them here now. And then after the visa, after the interview, they are ready to go. But of course, they cannot go before 30 days of the start of the university. So the university, usually most universities start in middle of August. Students are to travel after mid of July to the US in order to prepare themselves. And we always advise them to be there in the orientation day because it's very helpful for them just to feel that they start to believe that they belong to that community. Number 5 is the pre-departure orientation, where we do public and private pre-departure orientation and to students and parents, and we talk about prepare them how to get ready from here, what to do when they go there, and how to maintain their residency there, and how to be successful and face the cultural shock, because we all know the cultural shock that they face when they first go. So we take them through the steps and how to overcome the cultural shock. These are for the 5 steps for successful admission. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Lana or myself, we are here to answer, or we can answer via email. These are wonderful videos that we are very proud that we launched. The first one was launched last May. The alumni video, it's about Emirati successful people who graduated from the US and shared their experience. The ambassadors is a video also for students who are studying in the US and sharing their experiences. And the Education USA app also was launched last May, and we're very proud to be communicating with you through the Education app. Education US Academy. Education US Academy, some of you may heard about it. It's a pre-college academic enrichment program for international high school students. It offers specialized college preparatory content, college level writing workshops, campus visits, cultural activities. We always encourage students grade 10, 9, 10, and 11 to go, spend 3 weeks there, enjoy the cultural events, the workshop, the English workshops, the tours, and the universities, just to get an insight about how is it to live in the States, how is it to live by myself, and how is it to study in the United States. This is for the Education Academy. These are the universities that host the Education USA Academy this year for the year 2020. So we will share the presentation with you so you know which university you can guide your students to. I'm going to turn it now to Karen to talk about the current situation. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Lana and Rowan, for such a wealth of information and sharing at this time. Well, we all know that as we've given this presentation, we've given it at a time where things have changed, and we've given it from the perspective when things are normally working and how we work from day to day. But at this time, there's been a lot of changes. So we will continue to keep you updated on the changes as we get information. Lana, Rowan, and I have a lot of resources that are coming out of the Department of State, out of different professional organizations, as well as articles and online journals that we're watching closely. There's just a few things that I will mention in these 3 areas. We have been seeing that many schools are moving back their fall response date to June 1st. But generally, the competitive colleges aren't. We are seeing that some universities are going test optional and allowing for unofficial transcripts to be submitted. So more colleges are expected to follow suit. And really there's an anticipated change in the assessment of transcripts for the spring semester, and a lot of people are talking about maybe a pass or fail grading. There was a great survey that was put out by the Inside Higher Education publication. It's an online journal, and they surveyed 172 campus presidents. And I'm not going to go over all of their responses, but there's some really interesting information about what students are feeling at this time. I'm sure that's changed. We'll share that by email with you all. There have been changes on the SEVP side as well. As you've probably seen, most embassies and consulates have put their visa services on hold. They've been suspended. So that is a current reality. They are also looking at mailing I-20s from designated school officials to the students. So that is another thing that we're seeing changes, and there's talk about maybe because there's a number of layoffs in the United States, there might be changes to the OPT or CPT. So we're watching that closely. In addition, there's a lot of responses from different organizations such as the College Board and ETS. Duolingo is a very popular and new online way to test English language proficiency. I'm sure you've been updated on all of these. We will also include the links to these various testing organizations and the link to their website that talks about the coronavirus and what they're doing at this time. But test dates have been changing, and a lot of things have been put on hold. As a result, institutions are looking once again, as I said, at their policies around testing. And I expect that some will go test optional or not include that in their requirements in the year to come. All right. Oh, this is just some of the information about the standardized testing updates. NACAC, the National Association of College Admission Counselors, has put together a link and a document where you can basically see changes to the admission process by institution. This is a phenomenal resource. I'm sure it's changing daily. And so if you're confused or you have students right now that are in the middle of the process, this is a good place to go to see what those trends are and how it might be affecting certain students in their choices as they, put together their lists. With that, there have been a number of great online resources to help students at this time. One of my favorite is Explore Campus on virtual tour. As kids have more time to be at home, they can do virtual tours of campuses. And so we will continue to share these sites and links with you. A lot of them are being posted in our WhatsApp group as well. Just kind of doing things from a different perspective, and also as new online tools come available, it's just helping us look at the virtual component of our job in a different way. Lana, do you want to talk a little bit about the WhatsApp group?
Hello.
I just unmuted you,
Yeah.
Lana. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, we just want to emphasize that, we're very, very proud of the fact that we're all connected together on daily basis. We're very proud to be on the group together to support each other, to exchange trends and information, and to answer any questions that you may have. So please, let's keep in touch. WhatsApp is one of the ways that we can be in touch together. But then again, like I said, you can email us, you can talk to us, you can call us at any time, and we will be happy to connect. And then once things are back to normal, we will have our monthly meetup and continue to connect with you in person. So, and like I always say, hat off to all of you. We thank you so much for all the great work that you do on a daily basis.
Great. We are going to have to wrap up because we have another webinar that's happening in just about 3 minutes, but these are some of the resources that we have, our website. We have a number of different links that we mentioned, and this is our contact information. So definitely please reach out to us. I'm so sorry that we don't have times for questions and answers, but we can always come back next week, maybe open up the room if you want to email us questions. Don't worry, we'll make sure that we'll be in touch. We'd like to thank the team at GEMS for putting this together, for Kirsten Connors and her phenomenal team. Thank you for this opportunity, and know that you are not alone, that we are all here together, and that we will navigate through this challenging time. And definitely, as Lana said, we can't wait when the day comes where we can again see you in person. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Lana and Rowan. Phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.